here we go. This is a recording of the speed limit alerts web app that I've written, and just a regular drive to see how it performs. I've turned it on and selected the auto feature, and the auto feature uses a data file of speed camera locations around Victoria. So as it's not actually recognising the speed signs, it's simply picking up the location from the data file that there's a speed sign in that location. So as we go past here, you'll see the speed sign gets picked up, and it shows 70 as the speed limit. And that's basically it. We just drive. Okay. Now on the speed side of it, it lets me know when I'm going within 5 kilometres of the speed limit. It goes green in the background, so that's a good visual indicator to help me keep at or below the speed limit. If I exceed the speed limit, the background goes red, and I'm giving a spoken announcement telling me to slow down, which is a good thing. So it's very easy to go over the speed limit. The speed limit, now in addition to that, the speed shows a I think it's a yellow background. If the the speed limit sign on the number on the right has a background of yellow if it's a variable speed limit, such as on a freeway, but I can change the speed limit at any time. And it also goes orange if it's a long-term roadworks, so I've incorporated roadworks. The system is able to detect time-restricted areas, such as going past shops, where it drops down to 40 in many of the shops, and that's occurring more and more around Melbourne. In addition to that, it will pick up the speed limits as you go past the schools, so it picks up the time of day, the day of the week, and the terms of the school's terms, and that allows you to know that you're going past at the appropriate speed limit. A lot of apps just provide the default speed limit in the situations where you've got a time restricted area or a school zone, and that can be vastly different. So, and a lot of the top speeding fine areas are where they introduce a lower 40 km/h around shops and put in a restricted period of time. So you'll find those often in the top 10, maybe 3 or 4 of them, perhaps even more, in the top 10 speeding fine categories. There's a few features I've added here. You can see that I've got a black background for travelling at night, and a white background for when travelling during the day. There's a new feature which I'm actually pretty excited. I'm just testing now, not 100% working, but getting close, which is share score. I want to encourage people to drive near or below, or at or below the speed limit, as obeying the laws. And so what I've done is I've set up a score. You start with 100 points, and go over the speed limit, you lose a point. Sometimes the GPS is at fault because there's variations in the GPS, but most of the time it will be you going over the speed limit. So every time you hear that announcement to slow down, you've lost another point. If you keep speeding, I think you'll only lose 1 point for the one speeding session, if that makes sense. If you go down and up, points for that. In addition, it provides the travel start time, travel stop time, elapsed time, which I haven't got working properly just yet, and also the distance travelled, or an estimate of the distance travelled, because it's dealing with so many small estimates every 1 second. There's a degree of error in every measurement, and that measurement will compound over however many seconds it may take. Like there will be, for a half an hour drive like today, there will be 1800. So if you can imagine 1800 little errors adding up together, it could provide a certain level of inaccuracy, but it will be a good guide for those who wish to just check how far they've driven. Now there's a number of features to report. So the standard design layout options is basically provides you the ability to report mobile speed cameras, police held cameras, and also phone and seatbelt cameras. So I've done that so that, because they're mobiles is particularly one of the highest ways of getting a speeding fine. Police not so much. I'll actually do some research from the data provided from South Australia to get a percentage of police versus mobile fines. And so they're speeding, it's your speedometer. The other one is obviously the mobile phone camera and seatbelt. They're quite strict on the seatbelts, so things that you used to do in the past, like laying your seat back, having a sleep, and not having your seatbelt over your shoulder. So there, I've lost 1 point for going a little bit too fast. Bit of a dip there. Again, my fault. I fully accept it. But interestingly, when you look at the guide for learner drivers going for their license, they actually give them a degree of leeway as long as they're not going over 5 kilometres an hour over, up to 5 kilometres an hour over for up to 5 seconds. They lose points, but they don't actually fail immediately. Above that, they'll fail. But I thought that was actually pretty good, because they've given that level of tolerance to learner drivers. We often all go over the speed limit by a fraction and then drop back. That's pretty normal driving behaviour. So as you can see there, I went over, it alerted me, I pulled back. Then I was probably over for about 3 seconds, but obviously pulled that back into line with the assistance of the speed limit alerts. So I'm very happy that I did that. Now, so the reporting of the 3 speed cameras, the mobile phone seatbelt camera is completely different, because people are in the habit of using their phones, checking their phones. You're travelling, you're looking at the phone because of you're trying to find a location, so you're looking at your maps. And I even noticed that one person who had their hand on the phone to steady it, not actually holding it, but had his fingers wrapped around the back a short bit with his thumb on the screen, was booked for using the mobile phone. Now, I think that could have been challenged in court because he could have been making a phone call or using the phone in ways it's currently allowed. But I take the attitude is keep your hands off the phone, set it up before you leave, keep your hands off the phone, and don't get a fine. They're very, very expensive. Put your seatbelt on. Have your passenger put their seatbelt on. Make sure they've got it on. Make sure they is excessive. In Queensland, it's over $1,200, so it's very high. And you'll just see a spurious reading jumped in there. Went up to 70. That was simply an error, or not an error, an inaccuracy of the GPS. So it is possible that you'll lose points just simply because of the technology in the phone. Nothing I can do about that. so don't stress too much. The score is supposed to be a bit of fun, and a bit of fun, but also a way for you to check. And generally, most of the alerts will be you speeding. A few, one or two per drive, might be an inaccurate reading. So have a bit of fun, enjoy it, enjoy the information the web app provides. In addition, there's a email an alert if you're not the driver, but if there's a passenger in the car and you're going past speed signs and they're wrong, please feel welcome to let me know. I've corrected many hundreds of records that were provided from the Victorian government in my file, and I've added well over 500 new signs. So the signs are changing. All the new signs around the shopping centres have dropped down to 40. There's some 30s around the place. So if you see something inaccurate, you're more than welcome, and it's appreciated if you do report anything. So thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of the ride, and we'll see how we go. prediction in time that they'll make this area all 40 kilometres an hour. It is just slightly up ahead, but in Frankston on the Nepean Highway, which is 3 lanes wide, it is 40 kilometres an hour, and they've got a speed camera down there to catch people. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to Eastland, but I just wanted to demonstrate that as we approach the red light speed camera up further, the alert that's actually read out. As you can see, I actually haven't been speeding above the speed limit for more than the 2 readings of the GPS, and as a result, actually no, I take that back, yes, I was caught out. Just didn't recollect it for a little while then. So let's hopefully I won't go through the red light speed camera inappropriately. What I want to also show is that some devices and apps show when you go through an intersection, will alert you from all directions from the intersection. So for example, this one, there's actually, this is unusual, there's actually cameras from the side we're approaching now and from the opposite direction. But going across the traffic from left and right, there is no speed cameras. But TomTom will alert you to the speed camera from all of those approaches to the intersection. The TomTom web app, Amiga Go. So you can see how that's quite handy to slow you down. That was my mistake again. Of course, it's nobody else's, but very easy to go over the speed limit of 40 kilometre/hour zone, and now we're up to 60. There's a sign that's actually missing in my database, which is great because tonight I'll add that into the data file.
Red light speed camera ahead. The speed limit is 60 kilometres.
Now the first announcement there at 60 kilometres an hour, that was the navman alerting to it. And actually it'll be interesting to see that if we come I'm going to come back from that road on the right and see what happens. You'll notice that there was only one 60 sign to warn me that this was a 60 kilometre/hour zone. Now look at the size of the road. It would be very easy for people to think this is a 70 or even 80 kilometre/hour road, and that's what catches people out. So often you don't see the single sign. Very easy to miss one. A truck travelling next to you, not concentrating on one direction because sometimes they're only one side of the road. So now we've picked up this sign that we just went past. Well, that is actually excellent. Another sign to be corrected in my system. Now, Waze, as an example, does not. It only gives you the camera from the direction you're travelling. So Waze is a very app. The only shortcomings that I have with it is that and you'll hear me say this repeatedly as I review the various apps, is that the speed limit icon or sign image on the phone sitting here at a distance is too small. It's very difficult for me, so I have to concentrate so hard. It's taking my focus off the road. Whereas what I did, and that was one of the main reasons I created this app, was to basically solve that problem. I believe if my app takes off, my web app takes off, which who knows if it will or it won't, then the result will be that they will probably make the effort to improve their app, which will be a great outcome for everybody because it's used by probably millions of people. Mine certainly won't have that sort of coverage. So the second issue with Waze is it only alerts you to the default speed limit, and if you're going through areas where the speed limit changes during the day, then you have no warning. You can go through or towards, for example, in Warrigal Road, it will tell you it's 60 kilometres an hour. But in actual fact, through the red light speed camera, it's 40 kilometres an hour during certain times of the day and certain days of the week. That's not included. Again, once there's something out there that's doing it, I am pretty sure that the major companies will lift their act and produce a better product, and that's great for everybody. Except perhaps for me, because there's less reason for people to use my web app, but I'm okay with that. I built this for myself to help me, and if it helps others, that's good, and if it ends up helping by others improving their apps, then that's even better. So here we go. We're now going to come from the road that goes across the intersection rather than through the well, it goes through the intersection based on where I was before, where there's cameras in both directions. There is no camera from this direction. Now I've been told there's an interesting spot just up here at the intersection where the right-hand lane, because of the way the lines are marked, the right-hand lane tends to cut people off as they go across this intersection. So we'll see what happens. And I can understand that because I've seen that happen in the past. So we'll just sit here and observe what happens. A big truck's not going to, no one's going to cut off a big truck. So you'll notice no announcements. I'm impressed with the Navman. The earlier safety camera didn't actually come from direction, but this one, which is the 4K Pro from the Navman, also didn't alert. So they've incorporated the direction. So that's an improvement that I didn't know that had been done. This right-hand lane often ends up cutting across people into this lane. Didn't happen this time. Go in this entrance for a change. Okay, now we're coming to the end of the drive. We'll do the return drive in the same sort of way. So thank you very much for watching. At the end there is an alert that pops up. That's where you'll see the incorrect data for the travel time. It's the language I'm using, which is called JavaScript to create this, has date functions which I'm not used to, which it's taking me ages to wrap my head around. So yeah, so anyway, it's a bit of fun. Here we are, so we'll just hit the stop. You'll see that there's a message which sort of says that I got a score of 96. At start time, stop time, the elapsed time's not correct, and the distance was 17 kilometres, 17.6 kilometres, which probably isn't too far out. Okay, now the next part is I'll share my score and I can send that to myself. So that's basically it. Thank you very much for watching.